Hi.
Oh, we're on like take 6 already.
Hi, I'm Allie from the Book Bin in Northbrook. It's Independent Bookstore Day today, and we are launching our YouTube story time. So we've got our first book here is called Bookstore Babies. Babies love visiting bookstores. So many things to see and discover. Belly time is a favorite activity for bookstore babies, and playing with the bookstore cat is always a treat. Bookstore babies can't wait until story time and to practice their ABCs, activities, big bookshelves, cafe, dreams, and they love practicing important words too. Exceptional, excellent, extremely good. Bookstore babies are adventurous and love exploring new places and ideas. Bookstore babies are good at practicing shapes and are always ready for a snack. After a visit to the bookstore, it's time to go home, to read your new book and have a good night. And here are some tips to help you enjoy this book with your child over and over again. It's a wonderful thing to have at the end of the book. That's Bookstore Babies. Our next book features a favorite character. It's Curious George, and in this one, he goes to a bookstore. George was a good little monkey and always very curious. Today, George and his friend, the man with the yellow hat, were going to the grand opening of a bookstore in their neighborhood. George's favorite author was going to be signing her latest Penny the Penguin picture book. He had every Penny book she'd ever written. He couldn't wait to meet her. But when they arrived at the bookstore, they found a long line that zigzagged between the bookshelves. "We'll purchase the book first and then wait in line to get it signed," said his friend. There are a lot of kids who also love Penny the Penguin. The line inched forward and stopped, inched forward and stopped. George climbed onto his friend's shoulders and tried to take a peek at the author, but he was small and she was hidden by the crowd. "Be a good little monkey and don't wander off too far," said the man with the yellow hat, letting George down and picking up a bird-watching guide from a nearby shelf. "You wouldn't want to miss getting your book signed." George was happily flipping through storybooks when he noticed the wonderful smell of banana bread. It made his stomach rumble. George was curious. Could there be food in the bookstore? Food and drink were never allowed in the library. George decided to find out. As soon as he turned the corner, he discovered a glass shelf filled with baked goods instead of books. It was a small cafe. Next to the cabinet was a table with a sign advertising free samples. George watched people help themselves to little squares of banana bread. He took one too. Yum. A little girl saw George and tugged on her father's sleeve. "Daddy, look, that monkey likes banana bread too." "Yes, I suppose monkeys would enjoy banana bread," he responded, still looking at his book. While George was reaching for another sample, and then another, and another, he saw the little girl and her father leave the cafe area. Tucked under the girl's arm was George's favorite dinosaur book. He decided to follow them. They let him past a display of dinosaur books in the science area of the store. The display was as tall as the man with the yellow hat. It was hard to resist for a little monkey who loves to climb. George climbed onto the first tier. With so many books to look at, he wasn't sure where to start. He saw his favorite dinosaur books, but he also saw other books. One pictured an Apatosaurus eating leaves, and another showed pterodactyls soaring above the waterfalls. He climbed from tier to tier until he reached the top. From above, he noticed a stack of books in the corner of the store. The boxes were shaped like presents, but the bows and wrapping paper were missing. What book could be inside them. George leapt down and opened the boxes. They each contained a stack of the newest Penny the Penguin picture book. George wondered, why were the books in boxes? They should be in a big display like the dinosaur books. George had an idea. George got to work right away. He balanced the books one by one as if he were building with blocks. People in line marveled at what he was doing, except for the man with the yellow hat who was engrossed in his new birdwatching guide. The tower of books grew, and so did the crowd's amazement. "What a wonderful display," said a woman. "Wow, look at what that monkey made," exclaimed a little boy. "Stop," shouted a nearby bookseller. "You shouldn't have opened those boxes." But George was having too much fun to notice. From the top of his display, George looked down and finally saw the bookseller, the manager, and the man with the yellow hat peering up at him. "The monkey opened all of our books for the signing," complained the bookseller. The manager smiled at George. "He certainly did, and now we don't have to. I think his tower of books is a masterpiece." The manager asked George if he would like to help with the signing. George was delighted. He would finally get to meet his favorite author. George made sure each book was open to the right page, ready for the author's signature. He thought it was funny that her name was Penny, just like the penguin in her book. As she finished signing the last book, Penny turned to George and smiled. "Thank you so much for all your help today. It was great to have the extra hands and feet, but there's one book I still need to sign. Penny the Penguin and the Polar Bear Cub. To my new friend George, keep reading. Penny." She inscribed the book and handed it to George. George loved his new book. It was special and one of a kind. He'd had such an adventurous day at the bookstore, he couldn't wait to visit again. Curious George goes to the bookstore. Classic. Our last book has a great message that we should all practice every day of our lives. It's called Be Kind. Tanisha spilled grape juice yesterday. Everyone laughed. I almost did too, but Mom always tells me to be kind, so I tried. I don't think it worked. I said, "Purple is my favorite color." I thought Tanisha would smile, but she ran into the hall instead. When she came back, snack time was over. She put on her art smock and didn't look at anyone. I almost told Tanisha that art was my favorite class, but I didn't want her to leave again. So I painted purple splotches and added some green until I had a bunch of beautiful violets. While I painted, I thought about Tanisha. Should I have handed her my napkin? Let her borrow my sweatshirt? Spilled my juice so everyone stared at me instead? What does it mean to be kind anyway? Maybe it's giving. Maybe making cookies for Mrs. Rinaldi, who lives alone. Letting someone with smaller feet have my too tight shoes. He might win races in them too. Maybe it's helping. Putting dirty dishes in the sink. Cleaning up after Otis, our class guinea pig. He's a messy eater. Maybe it's paying attention. Telling Desmond I like his blue boots. Asking the new girl to be my partner. Listening to Aunt Franny's stories, even the ones I've heard before. Being kind should be easy, like throwing away a wrapper, or recycling a bottle, or saying, "Thank you, bless you." My mom says the quickest way to be kind is to use people's names. "Hey, Carla." "What's new, Omar?" "Good afternoon, Rabbi Mandelbaum." Being kind can be hard, too, even when you know what to do. Teaching someone something I'm good at is tricky, even when I'm patient. And sticking up for someone when other kids aren't kind is really hard. And it's really scary. Maybe I can't solve Tanisha's grape juice problem. Maybe all I can do is sit by her in art class and paint this picture for her because I know she likes purple too. Maybe I can only do small things, but my small things might join small things that other people do. And together they could grow into something big. Something really big, so big that all our kindnesses spill out of our school, spread through the town, travel across the country, around the world, and right back to Tanisha and me, so we can be kind again and again and again. There's Tanisha hanging up her new purple and green picture. So that story is called Be Kind, and let's all remember to do that every day of our lives. Thanks for watching the new Book Bin YouTube Storytime, and click to follow or subscribe, and you'll see when new episodes in this series are put online. Thanks so much. Hope to see you at the Book Bin.